Hello, everyone, and welcome to the virtual Commando cast. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Mike, and tonight we're going to be talking about cards from covert missions that surprise us.
Alright, hello everyone, and welcome back to episode 81 of the Commando cast. Yeah, I know 81 is a lot. Alright,
We're
so...
creeping ever closer to that 100 mark. It's getting scary.
Hey, we're going to get there. It's going to happen.
Right, okay.
So, hey, before we get started, I actually want to do a shout-out to our friend up north. So, Steve, we had announced a while back that our friend Steve had become sick, and we are happy, elated to announce that actually Steve is doing significantly better. He's on a path to recovery, and just want to let you know, Steve, we continue to love you, man, but we're really, really happy that you're healthy.
Yeah, much love for you, man. Thanks. And I have to say, Steve always reaches out and just says what's up and asks me how my family is and stuff, and I appreciate that. So thanks, Steve.
Yeah,
appreciate it, man.
Checking in on us during this whole thing. So.
Yeah, we're alive. We live in one of those places that's actually been pretty responsible socially for the last couple of weeks, so I'm pleased about that for once.
Well, hey, if anybody is going to shame anybody else on the internet, it'll be hipsters, and that's what Portland has in spades. So.
Right, yeah. Finally, an advantage for living here in this soy environment. I'm very excited, very happy to be here.
So, how are you holding up in this whole thing? Well, not just you.
Oh, good.
Family.
I mean. Yeah, no, we're good. We have lots of board games, and we're a pretty tight knit family. We live in as we've gotten older and our kids have gotten older, our house has gotten bigger, but we end up just kind of all staying in the same room most of the time anyway. So it's kind of fun. It's kind of fine. We just play lots of games and try to make it out to the grocery store. As little as possible. I'm still waiting for that clean suit, by the way, so that I don't die next time I go to Fred Meyer. So please leave that on the doorstep when you can.
Yeah, that's been interesting. Even we have the factory workers are obviously considered essential, but even the clean room, we're still doing social distancing even in the clean room, which by definition you would think is clean, but it's kind of funny. I was thinking about it today, right? So the stuff we patterned down to. So I saw today that the COVID virus itself is 1.2 microns, and that is roughly, well, it's hundreds and thousands of times bigger than some of the stuff that we're dealing with, right? So a single virus particle would actually mess us up. So it's just kind of funny, right? Putting things into perspective.
Yeah,
but it makes sense. It's a living thing, right? So anyway.
So how are you guys holding up? Are you staying sane?
I'm busy as ever doing videos and stuff. Plus, I've been doing, and that's what I was going to ask. I mean, for those of you who don't know, a spring break ended for the kids this week, so I'm back to doing virtual learning for engineering class, and I know you're playing daddy teacher, daddy something or other, right? So,
right. Well, mostly daddy tech support.
Yeah,
this is the last couple of days. Yeah, but the kids are back to school, at least in a virtual environment, and they're doing really well. I'm very proud of them. I think it's kind of new still, so it's a little easier for them to be excited about it. It's something fresh and super fun for them. So I'm pleased. I'm pleased with it so far.
Oh, that's good. I was talking to Jeff from up north today, and he said that he basically can't use the internet between 8 and 6 because the kids are using it for school and stuff like that, right? So. I'm sure you're used to being home alone all day doing your business stuff. And anyway, all right, so we're doing okay. We're both obviously still alive, and we don't have anything. So let's move into today's topic. So we've obviously been playing a bunch on TTS, not in person, because that's just the way the world is right now. So I've been I guess I wanted to ask Mike how. Because you kind of came out very publicly and said that you didn't think this set was very good.
Yeah. My early thoughts definitely.
Yeah. I mean, and I think I probably agree with you in that the stuff that we thought early was going to be super good is just okay. I mean, obviously Trandos are a problem and all that, right? But or maybe they're not a problem. Either way, they're really strong.
Yeah.
Bane's really good.
Right.
But there's some other decks I've run up into that I think are really good. For example, I've been running Poe Sabine pilots, and I think we all thought piloting was going to be garbage. And that deck's really fun. I mean, it's not a tier 1 deck, but it's a lot of fun.
Right. Well, it does a lot of the things that you want that type of deck to do. We talked a little bit about that this week, about it plays a little bit more like less like a vehicle deck, right, and more like an aggro deck that uses vehicles as an avenue of getting dice on the table. So it's been surprised that, speaking of surprises, I'm surprised to see how effective that's been.
Yeah, I mean, but there's cards in there that I think, like I'm playing Poe's. I've got Poe's ship in there. I have Sabine's ship in there. I have Ghost in there. Ghost is really good. I think Ghost is better than I thought it was going to be. But obviously you have to play it with the Spectre for the whole pseudo ambush thing. I mean, it's not the same as an instigate, but it kind of is, right? With a die.
In that one also, when you resolve the die and a Spectre's piloting it, the Spectre gets a shield.
Right.
Is okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. No, that's really strong. Like it's a great 3-drop with no blanks. You don't mind rolling any of the sides. Maybe the +3. Although, I mean, who's going to complain about that?
I think it has a disrupt, which isn't great. I think,
right, yeah.
But
it's solid though. Like to get a dice with no blanks is for 3 seems really good, and it, like you said, it has kind of the pseudo ambush thing on it. So I think that card has surprised me. I think it could find its way into even standard ramp like vehicle like support decks later on, not just piloting.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're not running a Spectre, it's probably not. I don't know. That's because that's the only way it gets ambushed is if you're activating a Spectre. I mean, it has ambush itself, but my point is that the instigate mechanic, which is what you want, you have to activate a Spectre to bring it in.
Right.
So, I mean, and really, it's not really, it's only Hera or Sabine. Those are your only two options, so.
Right. I don't think it's that much worse than like an N1 Starfighter, though, like for 3. For pure value wise, I think it is as good as that vehicle. Mm-hmm. Especially in the right build. Obviously, if you have a pilot, it's all of a sudden going to be a Spectre pilot, especially it becomes a lot better.
Yeah, and I mean you're right. And the other things that deck has going on is a card that you had brought up in the past multiple times is Eject, right? I mean, Eject is bonkers good.
Yeah,
I've found myself. I mean, the obvious great play there is like pilot Merchant Freighter and blow up Merchant Freighter. Or Cloud Car or something like that, right? But like I found myself using it even on Sabine's tie or on Black One because it's that good, right?
Well, and for a 2 cost, like if you play Black One, resolve it twice, like throughout the game, and then eject out of it. I mean, you really got a ton of value out of basically 3 resources, right? With 2 for the Black One, and eject is 1 cost, right? Am I thinking of the? Oh, is it free?
Yeah, it's a goose egg.
Oh, yeah, okay. So let me revise that. It's bonkers if you get to resolve the vehicle twice for value and then eject out of it for 2 health and 2 shields. That is stupid good. I think you get only thinking of it as a play on Merchant Freighters, maybe being a little bit short-sighted and maybe even greedy. When I certainly don't mind ejecting out of a pose or a Black One and then playing my second Black One. That it actually gives you a reason to run some of these unique vehicles more than 1 copy, which sometimes we haven't always been that way. We don't do that.
Yeah, and that's I do in that deck just because I won them, and I'm kind of using those as my upgrades for lack of a better term, right? I'm running 2 Black Ones, 2 Sabines. I'm even running 2 Ghosts, and then 2 Merchant Freighters, obviously, but. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, have you been able to play around? Yeah, well, yeah, you were playing around with Poe a bit too. You were running Satine, right?
Yeah, and mainly the Sabine's Sabine's. She's 12. What is she?
Oh.
She's
10, 13. Yeah,
10, 13. I did not like that I just didn't care for that pairing at the start, the Poe and Sabine, mainly because I didn't love her die, although I like it more now. I think it does have three damage sides. You know, one of them's kind of weird, but I do like it. I think my mind immediately went to I had Poe and Satine with armored reinforcements. And the reason is because I basically it allowed me to play all the really groovy yellow removal without really any fear of anyone trying to blast, Satine off the
Because
board.
everybody's going for Poe
She's
first.
really right, right, and she's really strong at the end of the game if you're able to play supports. 'Cause she has the focus sides, and she can get you a reroll. And I mean she's got a lot of game. She just can't do much on her own aside from her two indirect side.
Yeah, but by then you have Shadowcaster and N1s on the table, right? So
Yeah, and I was playing more of a heavyweight build as opposed to your maybe a little bit lower to the ground. Where you're not necessarily all in on vehicles,
right.
right? In your version,
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, I mean, so that's a good point because I put the deck tech up for that a couple days ago, and I took a lot of flack for like, why isn't Crate Speeder in here? And I think the people who did that were kind of missing the point of the deck. Like, it's not a Poe vehicle deck, right? Because like Crate Speeder is awful with Poe.
right. It's redundant,
Right.
right? I mean, you can't do them both. Once you do one of them, the other ability is done. Correct? You don't get to do them
Right.
both.
I mean, unless you can remove the damage, which, dude, somebody needs to throw together a Poe Finn Solidarity deck, actually, because that could be like I've been penciling that out, and I can tell you right now that's the reason Poe's 17 points is because they didn't want. Although actually, I have to take that back because they didn't. Poe was already play tested and printed or at least sent to the printers before Finn got errated. So actually, never mind. Statement retracted.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really cool idea, though. Like, I guess I really hadn't thought about it. I mean, my brain kind of immediately went to Rose as another option.
Oh, yeah, that works. But she just heals. Like, Finn turns it into...
Right. Like, he actually throws
Right.
it back, and he's got a ridiculous die. He's a trooper. Like, yeah, no, that's definitely... I don't know if I love the solidarity.
Well, it's the only way to do it.
But I feel like... Yeah. I mean, there's got to be enough with the, basically 6 sets in rotation right now. There's got to be enough that's the one you can only run one ofs, right? Am I thinking of the right one? Yeah. So there's got to be enough stuff in there for you to make that work.
Yeah, I mean the problem there is Finn's not a pilot, but
one of your 30 cards might as well be. Isn't there a card that gives you pilot now, right?
License to Fly, right?
It's bad for
bad
one
value.
But, hey, whatever.
Yeah. So another card in there, which I think you had talked about before as well, is Flanked by Wingmen. That card is that one snuck up on me. Like, that card's great. What can you tell us what that one does?
So Flanked by Wingman's pretty interesting. It allows you to activate. I believe it allows you to activate a pilot and give it a shield.
Right.
And if you can spot 2 pilots, you give 2 shields, and it's a 0 cost red neutral event. And it doesn't sound that great, but the first time it happens to you, like in a game when you've got a character on the ropes and you're about to knock out your opponent's first pilot character, right? You have everything on the table, and he plays a 0 cost card that gives him momentum. It adds pace to his deck because he gets to play a card, activate, and then all of a sudden the character has 2 more shields than it did before, or 2 more life technically than it had before. It's very impactful, and even if they can't spot 2 pilots, it still lets them play the card, activate, and gain a shield. So it's never truly dead as long as you have a pilot, which you're going to play it in a deck that has ways to use it all the time.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, could you imagine if that had ambush? I mean, obviously it would have to cost 1 then, but it'd still be good.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you could throw Instigate out and take a shield, you'd do that, right?
Right. And that's the thing is, even at 1, it's probably if it had ambush at 1, it's still maybe one of the most busted cards in the game. Because Instigate's really good, right? I mean, like that finds its way into most decks that are playing with dice. So it gives you reach. And so if for one, if you're willing to put two of it in a deck, then certainly, if you get a shield out of it, it's gonna be must include. Not only that, every time they add another ability that does things like that, then you end up running with like, oh look, I have 4 copies of an ambush card. It's the same problem we ran into with droids, where they just had so many ways to get around your removal. That's why they quit printing ambush guns, I think.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that's a sore subject. So, all right. So what deck? So that's my deck that I've been, or one of my decks I've been playing with. What have you? Do you have any decks that you've been playing with that have surprised you?
So surprising decks for me. The one that I played with the other day, I was on Tabletop Simulator. Our local group, the Commandos, were kind of where we're all looking for games, and Sarah hit me up, and we played, and I got a chance to play 2 decks. One of them was Kragan. It was just the pirate, so Kragan and Kragan's partner.
Oh,
Can't remember the
Sinara,
name.
right?
Sinara, yeah, thank you. Yeah, so that one was actually, I was surprised by how hard Kragan was to play, because I was always trying to get maximum value out of rolling him out, like trying to get that resource. So getting the timing on him was difficult, but he is a very, very strong character. I know you've told me before, and I know you've told me before, like, even if you just roll his dice in, like the mere threat of causing your opponent to have to play out of their own rhythm, like spend their money when they don't want to, is still very strong, and his dice are really good. So even if you only get his ability off twice in a game, it's still fantastic. So that was a big surprise.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Kragan Pyre. I think you and I actually played that on TTS for a video. And I've come to the decision. I think playing Pirate Ship with Pyre is a trap, or with Kragan is a trap. Obviously, I get it. Like pirate shipping in, removing a die, getting your dollar, like you're living in, like that's awesome. And if it does happen, it's locked down.
It feels almost win more to me though at times.
No, yeah, exactly.
I mean, the fact that you're able to get the 4 resources means that you're either effectively, executing your game plan, and then when you get the ship out there, it's really just like you're at Disneyland when you have that ship out. Like you're killing people after that. Yeah, no, I think, along with Kragan, after I put Kragan away during that game with Sarah, I pulled out Jawa Mill. So it was single die Lor Santeca, and then 4 Jawas. Was that right? 4. Yes, yeah, 4 Jawas, and then I was on the espionage. Was the plot I was packing, and I just threw the deck together. Like I didn't net deck it or anything. I just kind of quickly, because I wanted to try it, so I just threw like every gray card I could, the ones that you would expect, like Utini, Harmless Trick was in there, and then the Sandcrawler. So I mean the basic stuff, and then all the gray removal, and it was very slow at the end, but I basically had Sarah on lockdown like the entire game. Like anytime she did anything, I was able to play a gray card. One of the interactions I found was kind of unfortunate was when you activate a Jawa and then play the gray card, Kragan basically gets an auto steal your resource because you just activated a character and you have no damage dice showing. So he really puts the screws to mill decks in general, I think.
Or your ramp decks, which I think we all knew going in, but the Jawas, and that guy's worth having a discussion about, because he really still messes with my head in terms of how you play, because having those defends and those dodges online basically at will. I mean, it still costs you $1, I guess, but
right.
You don't leave modifieds out there. You resolve dice. You take extra actions, right? So.
Right. Yeah. And if you forget, if you don't take it into account, you get punished really hard. Like it only takes like one, shriek, and they had one resource, so you thought you were fine, right? So you're flipping, your dice into specials, or you rolled out a bunch, you rolled out all your guys and had a bunch of blanks, and you just get totally punished for it. So I actually thought maybe the 4 Jawas was too many, mainly because you could only play. I mean, the gray cards are kind of situational, right? So you can only play so many of them. So oftentimes I would leave one of the Jawas unactivated for the round. I actually think, and I saw this one from the Hyperloops early on. They had a version with little Anakin, and then so it's Lor San Tekka, little Annie, and then 3 Jawas with Bitter Rivalry, because Annie's 7 for the single dice, and that gives you access to the yellow removal and his pod racer, and I think that could be really good too. I mean, if especially in the hands of a really good deck builder. I shudder to think what happens when one of these guys like running Onion or something gets their hands on that build. It really makes it sweet.
That's interesting. So the gray is just for free removal, and then Utini, like that's basically it.
Yeah. Yep. And it's one of those decks that kind of creates two, like you're getting threatened from multiple directions. Obviously, Anakin and the Pod Racer are a serious problem when it comes to a mill deck. And then Utini is basically a free. And the first turn, if they go after Anakin, which they probably should, then Utini's on basically ready to roll for the first 3 rounds of the game. You're going to get 3 cards off the top of their deck, that way. And Lore is basically there to return your removal back to your hand. I mean, that's the big, it's
Sure.
It's big use.
Sure.
And I really like him. He's good. It's in the 4 Jawas, his dice was I only resolved his die like 3 times twice the entire game. Once on the lucky discard, and then once on the shield side. Every other time I rolled his either the blank or the focus, which is 0 good.
Well, he has two focus sides, right?
Yeah, 1 focus, 2 focus, I think, and then a single discard, and then a shield, a money, and a blank. I mean, he's not bad. He just, it feels bad when you don't have other dice to use his focus on. So having Anakin might,
But you're just running him single die and just using him really for his ability, right? So
correct. Yep, that's all. Yeah. And you end up stalling out a lot in that deck, right? So you're playing reactively, and then you're using your events to take their cards, and then they're still going. So it's nice to be able to go, okay, well, I'm going to power. It gives you something else to dirtle with. Okay, I'm going to power action. I'll take a flank, a Utini, and a harmless trick back, and your opponent's like, frick, great. I just got rid of those.
So is there only end game? Because obviously, like, I agree, you go for Anakin first. Their only end game move is to Bespin Wingguard, right?
Yeah, so eventually you end up getting 2 Bespin Wingguards out, and then the hive of
Wretched Hive.
Wretched Hive. Sorry, Wretched Hive. Yeah, that's another way where you basically, if your opponent tries to spend any of their money on anything, you're able to punish them with another card.
That's not going to help you in game because they're just going to pay you, right? So
correct. Yeah, they're just going to pay you. So it really is about the Wingguard, getting the Wingguard, but you're healing a lot, and it's a stall deck. It was surprisingly strong, but it only takes 1 aggro rollout where I don't have an answer, and the game's over.
Yeah, sure. You lose 2 Jawas you lose Lore. Yeah. Okay, so we were talking about Kragan for a bit, which actually kind of leads me into my super surprise card, which it's always, I know that neither one of us is super huge on draft, but it always does make you learn kind of some of the really good cards. And Improvised Explosive, that is the card I actually pulled in my Kragan Pyre. I pulled Pirate Ship out for 2 Improvised Explosives. Like, that card closes games out. So just a reminder, that's the card it comes in, you put 2 resources on it, and it deals 3 indirect damage when all those are removed after each round, or at the beginning.
So basically, if you play it round 1, sometime in the middle of the round, it will fire off at the beginning of round 3. Is that right?
Correct. Okay. But it's one of those things, like, I mean, how many games have you played in your career where you know that they're going to win just by claiming the battlefield at the beginning of the next round? It's basically the same thing,
Like
right? It's like if I
it's
can't kill Mike
Amy's
right now,
droid deck.
I have to kill Mike right now,
Right.
or I lose at the
Right.
beginning of the next round, right?
Right.
That card's really good. It's real good. It's good round one, round two. It's good because it's one of those cards where you just have to play survive. It's like if I have to go to round 5 and I win the beginning of round 5 because this procs, fine,
Right.
right? So I'm
And
a
that,
huge
that
fan.
seems delicious for one. I mean, and it just sits there. Like
Yeah, and realistically,
you
if
know,
they want to DM it, go ahead,
right.
right?
Right.
So, no, that card's great. And then another card that's come out of that because of the whole resource balancing thing and trying to, right? Because there's the whole thing with improvised explosive that you had brought up, where if you remove the resource, if you remove the last resource, it doesn't proc because it's a then at the beginning of the round. So then that leads into bucket, right? Little
Okay.
bucket, little man. His dice are really good for one, and
He's got the two specials, right? And the specials are basically a resource side at worst, right?
at worst, yes.
Yeah.
So he,
And then what else
well,
does he do?
he puts another resource on a card, right? So he can keep feeding your merchant freighter if you want, or
Okay.
some other card. I guess you could keep delaying someone's improvised explosive if that's the weird ass game that you're in. But
Well, he might actually work in your Poe deck though, because he says or remove 1 damage from a support, so it would allow you to do Poe's ability more, right? Because his works just like the crate speeder. Once the damage is on it, he can't do it
yeah,
again.
I mean, I don't. Again, the Sabine deck's not really a Poe deck because it's trying to go
Right.
fast, right? Like I'm trying to go fast and I'm trying to jump out. So I'm not. I don't really have time to like roll in a bucket, remove a damage, add a damage.
Right.
So, I mean,
Am I going my
I
16
think there are decks.
or my
I
16?
think, yeah. So there you go, right? I think there are decks that can do that. It's just not that deck.
Right.
But
I might mod him up, figure out a way to get him all modded, become a death
he's a
machine.
droid. That's true.
Yeah, I might be good.
Yeah, I think playing the bucket strategy is a little far flung.
I'm gonna own the meta with my bucket.
Hey, another one that's really good. BB-8, man. Good old BB-8.
Yeah, no, BB-8's fantastic because he allows the double activation is super strong, so you get to roll it out like the first time, and then you get it, and then you get to attach it, roll it out again, get it a second time, and that's just super value for one. That's one of my favorite cards.
Yeah, BB-8's great. All right, so another deck I've been playing that I've been having a lot of fun with is Luke, or Pilot Luke, your buddy, blue, red 5, blue 5, Luke.
Oh God, please quit bringing that up. Like the fact that I'm even talking to you right now about this, I said I was going to quit when that happened, and I didn't do it. So now I look like a liar.
Though that's true.
But anyway, go ahead, talk about your
So,
sweet Luke tech. 'Cause he's pretty
Pilot
good.
Luke, yeah. Do you know how well Conflicted likes Pilot Luke? Likes him a lot.
4 damage sides? Yeah. Pretty
So,
good.
Pilot Luke, Finrau AR. It only has 19 points, or 19 health, but it's basically a 5-die start, and that 5th die is real good when it comes in. I mean, it's kind of a 3rd die on Luke, except that 3rd die hits for +1.
Right. No, that seems quite good. I mean, I know you're giving up some health, right, with running Fen, with only having the 9 health, but it seems like you should be able to lay down a lot of smack pretty quick with that deck.
Yeah, and you're fast, so you're playing Seize the Day. You're playing your Flanked by Wingman. You're playing Eject. I mean, and then
And is Fen's a pilot, right?
He's
I'm
a trooper pilot, so you can like that's the brilliance of it is you get the complete joy of the blue-red package, or the blue-red zero removal package. So you get Pacify, Motive. You can run Nullify if you want. You get Flanked by Wingmen to feed the Nullify. You get Measure for Measure. You can run the Riot Shields if you want. I'm not actually, but you can.
I saw your deck tech today when I should have been working, and there was an event in your deck tech where you ran a single copy of it. It was one of your one-offs. It was a red card. Yeah, tell me about run to safety. Is
Run to
that
safety has been causing me all sorts of problems in the Heinz household because frickin' Spectre deck on run to safety, if you deal any sort of indirect damage, right? So run to safety is heal 1 damage from a character, then spot a character, or not spot, but then heal 2 damage from a character that matches its subtype, right? So that damn Spectre 1/2/3 deck that I built for Amy, 1 healing
okay?
3. That's
Yeah, that's a pretty good value,
it's
right?
huge,
Like,
and I mean, the reason I'm running out of a one of is pretty obvious. Like, if they're not dealing indirect at 19 health, there's a pretty small window there that you can use that.
right.
So I'm running one of, but
Okay, so what's the ruling on let's say Luke has 2 damage and Fen has no damage, right? May I play this heal 1 damage from
you
Fen?
can't heal a damage if he doesn't have damage.
Okay, so it doesn't. Okay, so there's not a positive statement if they have no
Right, and
damage.
that's why there was that whole fight over Vala's tribe, is because it was move up to, right? Which I realize isn't
Okay.
directly 1-to-1, but it's kind of the same thing. So
No, right. I hear you. Okay. Yeah, I thought that was a really cool. I thought that was a very interesting deck. I actually kind of like Fen. I wish he wasn't pointed the way he is. Like they blew those characters. Like God. Like what? I know that why they did it because they didn't want us just running all three of the draft characters every
sure.
draft. But it just seems like I would love to see a balance for the draft characters, like that was just for non-draft, like a point reduction for non-draft use of Fen, because Fen should probably be, if he's 913, he should probably be 912, right? I mean
No,
that
but
makes
that's the problem. He's 11-13. So's Dooku.
oh oh my
Right.
god, yeah. So he should be, yeah, he should probably be 912, right? Like that should probably
Yeah, I
be
mean, my thing is, I'm okay with them being pointed where they are, but they should have 10 health. I mean, and I realize we can't. It's water on the bridge. We can't change that now because they don't change. Not that we're ever going to see in a errata again, right? But like,
right,
um,
right.
I think Finn would be pretty good at 10 health because I've seen variants on this deck playing Rex actually, and Rex isn't the pilot. And I think I can make up for his low health with flanked by Wingman, eject, and also, well, not really eject because that's the UFB pilot. I guess that only works with Luke. But
But I mean, Fen has that really cool ability. That power action's no joke.
no, and
Like I
that's the
mean,
brilliance in this deck of Finn is like Luke's the first target. Like he's the first target. So because Finn is a pilot but doesn't have piloting, right? So Luke obviously is the first target, and then Finn is good for 3 to 4 indirect,
right.
right?
Yeah, that's a big deal. Like we used to I've seen people pay 3 build points to do indirect damage at the beginning of the game, right? The Ewok deck.
Yeah, but that's for target acquired, right? But
Right.
um,
But I mean that's not insignificant. Doing an additional 3 damage just for doing what you're going to do anyway, which is play a bunch of red cards. That seems. I like Fen. Like I said, I wish Fen was 10 health or 9 points for single die. I just think it would open up a lot of cool deck building
yeah, I
too.
agree. I'd
But
like to see. Yeah, I mean, they're obviously not going to reprint him, so I think the right answer is there to balance. That's a fair point.
right.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I was playing Amy today a little bit before we're shooting this, and I power actioned Finn to play Focus Fire. So you throw one indirect, and the indirect procs first because it's part of the power action, right? So you throw the indirect across the board, and then you can choose where to Focus Fire to. Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
Yeah. No, that's real strong. And you would have done that anyway,
Yeah, I
right?
mean,
You would have played that card anyway. So it's all upside. I love it. I think Fenn's cool. Just limited by health, obviously.
so we were talking Ewoks a bit, actually, and bringing us back to Improvised Explosive, right? Like, I think Improvised Explosive, because you knew back in the day I was running the Ewok deck as it exists, the Hoth Trooper Ewok deck, I was running it with Double Down and Night Sister
Right.
Layer for target acquired to get that extra dollar. I think the Improvised Explosive is good enough to swing Ewok players. Not that I'm trying to help Ewok players here, like, that's not the point, but
Right. Yeah. Please don't encourage
I
them.
think
Thank
the
you.
Improvised Explosive might be good enough to swing from Preemptive Strike to Double Down. So you can run 3 target acquireds and 3 improvised.
Right.
Like,
Right.
it's
I
that
mean,
good.
target acquired is pretty important. right. I mean, it's you certainly wouldn't mind running three of them.
Target acquired is a win con. Well, it's not a win con, but it's pretty damn close.
Right. So it's one of those cards where if you get it down, your win percentage goes way up.
I,
It's really hard to overcome.
yeah,
For the
I'll
other
take you
player.
one more. I think it's damn near hard. Like, I think you have to try to lose if you get target acquired down round one.
Right. Yeah. No.
So,
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's not give the Ewok players any help, but I think you have a point there. I think that card's super strong, and I know Derek had kind of made that addition pretty early on. It's just it's so like you mentioned it. If you play it early, there's an inevitability about it happening, and you can the Ewok player doesn't care at all. Like he'll play and then just move on about his day, right? Knowing that it's gonna proc off, and it adds more towards their win condition. So that's kind of hate Ewoks. Frick.
me too, buddy. Me too. All right, so how about, do you have any other cards that you've been surprised at in this set or underestimated?
Yeah, there's been a couple, but one I thought was kind of interesting, just because I have talked so little about it, and when I saw it, I was like, "Why is this a legendary?" Like, it didn't make much sense. It didn't make much sense to me at the time. Like, what's happening with this card? And that's the Z6 Jetpack.
Mm.
It's a neutral legendary, and it basically it has a two gun for one disrupt shield and a special states place one resource on this upgrade, then deal indirect damage to an opponent equal to the number of resources on this upgrade. And it's nothing spectacular, but what did kind of pique my interest as a Django player is the its equipment,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it kind of it gives Django another way to generate damage, and then also further that whole I can add as much equipment to this character as I want ability. So that one's been a little surprising to me. It's reminiscent of some other stuff, but it does have the equipment, keyword.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of I used to play the oh shoot, I can't remember the name right now, but what was the first draft kit had the 2 cost, the Verpine sniper rifle had the yeah,
Right,
I
right,
used to
yes,
play the snot out of that in my Poe Hondo deck. And it kind
yes.
of reminds me of that. I mean, I realize it's not directly the same, but so I do play Z6 in my Django Boba deck, mostly because it's thematic. But I do feel that
Right.
it's. I mean, I
Right.
think it's best in a special chain deck. Like, I wouldn't actually be surprised to see like a Yoda Hondo come back and use something like that, right?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Yeah, no, and I think if you for the special chaining, because it's one of those ones that it adds resources, right? Every time you
Right.
proc it.
It comes in with one, and then the
So
first time it's two. It's a baby Force Lightning kind of ish.
right. Yeah. No, it seems like it would be one of those ones where, like you said, if you could chain into it or find some way to actually augment it so that it was even more effective than you would think it would be on the table, that would be really good. My biggest thing with it though is just the fact that on Django it effectively costs one. If you have to have the two to start with, of course, but it is effectively a one cost die with 3 damage sides on it. And if you happen to unfortunately roll the 2 for 1, you have the dollar to resolve it that round anyway. So
Yeah,
it's
Django
it's
doesn't
pretty
ever
good. It
make
doesn't
any
have.
money.
Yeah, no, that deck makes more money. It's kind of to digress a hair. Django makes so much money that when I put him with other stuff, the deck almost always turns into some sort of weird like Bonzo support deck, like where I want to run Fist or Mega Blaster Troopers or something. Because by the end of any game with Django, you have so much money you don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, I hear you. Actually, I had played Django Phasma in the last meta, 10-13 Phasma, because you can start with profitable and you can open with Omegas. So,
Oh my
anyway,
gosh, yeah,
yeah, I agree. So the interesting thing on my Boba Django, right, with Z6 is I'm not really like every time I play Z6, I wish I had Donderbus, and every time I play Donderbus, I wish I had Z6. It's like this devil's conundrum, and like the two spots keep slipping because like Donderbus gives you the redeploy, and it has the one. So Donderbus is wait 1 + 2, 2 indirect, and the first time you proc the special is 2 indirect, and like you have to natural roll the special because you don't have focus in that deck.
Right. Yeah.
So basically, most of the time I'm using the special, I get it off once per game. It's for 2 indirect.
So I'm gonna blow your mind here from a deck building for some deck building
Okay.
strategy. So run both of them, play the
There's no room.
Z6, and when you're about to die, you better make room, Mister.
You
There's
got to run
spots for
bounties
that.
with Boba. That's the problem.
Oh, that's the problem. That could be a whole other episode. Is how bounties are hard to run, and they keep releasing like better bounties. That was another one that when we were talking about like before we shot like what we're gonna the cards we're gonna mention. I forgot about the one that lets you roll
Oh,
in your
forced
opponent's
labor
forced
is
labor. Oh my
that card's
god,
amaze balls.
you scarred me for life with that card last time we played it. You nut rolled twice on the forced labor. I rolled max damage on myself from forced labor. That card is really good. So you're all of a sudden running 6 or 7 of these bounties in your like you said your room is you're just out of room. Maybe that's a balancing mechanic though. When it comes down to it.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if I want to give him that much credit, but um, yeah, I mean, but the thing is, the problem with Boba Jango is that you have the compounding problem of running too much stuff for Django and running the bounties, and you end up with like 6 removal cards. Right.
As long as 2 of those removal cards are back to therapy, I'm gonna win a
Oh,
lot of
I
games.
wasn't counting that as removal because that's an auto as well, right?
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah,
I
there's
think
some
I'm
cards you have
running
to run that you're left with like 4
like you're
removal
running
cards.
shock and you're running entangle because why wouldn't you run the good spot yellow stuff? I'm running
Mm-hmm.
reversal, but I could see a lot of arguments for not running reversal because that's basically all the good stuff that you get out of the yellow hero removal package, which is amazing. I mean, well, no pickings, but anyway, yeah, I have a lot of problems with that deck. I've been working on that deck a lot, and it just, like I said, every time I run one, I want the other.
It is really strong though. Like it has some. It again. It feels like on the times you get Slave One out, the game's just freaking over. Like Slave One hits the table and the bodies start hitting the floor. Like that thing is quite good. Um, so yeah, I really like that one. It's another one of those ones where I'm glad that they made a thematic deck that makes sense and is actually pretty good. Kind of like
How
they
is
did
that a
with
thematic deck?
well, I mean, it's bounty hunters. Like
Yeah.
it's yellow bounty hunters. Like obviously, it's father son time, right?
Yeah, I think you're going to get lit up in the comments for that one.
Bring it
That's
on.
all right. All right, yeah, so, all right, what else? Anything else surprising you, or?
No, that's about for me. That's about it. I mean, there's been a couple little there's been a couple little cards that I've kind of wanted to play with. Master Smuggler was one of those ones I think is very interesting. They seem to have mathed them perfectly, to make him to be able to run 3 wide, 30 health, makes money like it's his job. So I'd like to dive into that a little bit, but I haven't had a lot of experience with it. But it seems like it could be good. Is I mean, if we were running a deck where getting to 20 resources was a win condition for hero, I think it would be tier 1. But I'd like to give it a try though. I think it's interesting. I think I got 3
By
of them
it?
in my
Okay, oh,
box.
that's what I was going to ask. So by it, you mean the 3 wide variant?
Yeah, the 3 wide smuggler for 30
Yeah, and
health. Yeah,
shout out to Wyatt from Dice of Failure. He had been
yeah.
running that, I think, because he got his boxes at LVO, so he had his toys like well before us. So he'd been running, I think, that for a while.
He was pounding that drum
Right.
immediately. Like he would not leave me alone at work. He's like, "Oh my god, this deck is so
And now
good."
that
Like,
guy, he is a scoundrel, right? I mean, that's the whole point of him, right? Is you can resolve a
right,
scoundrel
right,
die. So he rolls in,
correct.
and you can resolve his die for. You have a 5 out of 6 chance of getting $1, 1 out of 6 of getting nothing, and 1 out of 6 of getting $2, right?
Correct.
Netting $2, I should say.
Yeah, and I think you said it best like the other day. You were like, if there was a diceless character that said roll in and gain a resource, would you play
Hell
it?
yeah,
And it had 10 health. You'd probably be
right?
all over that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The Jawa smuggler coming out in Wild Horizons.
Right. I think it's very cool. I like some of the ideas with it. I've been a big fan of like mono yellow hero. Way back from my Jank 6 wide, yellow hero deck that I used to love to terrorize people with. That deck was freaking fantastic. Tell everyone how good that deck was.
That deck was frustrating as all hell because it shouldn't have been good. Should not have been good. But rolling in Maz Kanata with 2 Vibro Cutlasses sucks donkey balls.
Yes. So for you guys at home, for you folks at home, that was E Yellow Ezra from Empire War, and E Maz Kanata, and E Jar Jar Binks for maximum trolling of your opponent. People, I'd sit down across people all the time with that deck, and they would like look at me like, "What are you doing?" And then 19 minutes later, they were just shaking their head as I was picking up my cards as the winner. God, I love that deck. That was stupid.
That was Empire at War, right? No, it was Legacies because it was Legacies.
It was Legacies, yeah, because of Jar Jar. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Vibro Cutlass.
Super fun. But I love. Yeah. I've been, I love the mono yellow hero is just solid, like all over the place. Like the best events, best survivability, cool weapons, reversals bonkers. I'm so glad they reprinted that.
Yeah, well, Mono Hero Yellow became real good in Legacies when Easy Pickings and Entangle got printed, and it seems to be pretty good ever since. So,
yeah, could you imagine how bad Yellow Hero would have fallen off the map if we had rotated, like if set 10 had been like in Fantasyland, set 10 gets released and then that block falls off and all of a sudden nobody plays Yellow Hero anymore.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, to be fair, they did a pretty good job, I think, in Convergence of reprinting some of the core cards. Like Field Medic got reprinted, a lot of the other stuff.
Electroshock, right?
So
yes.
I could see like we're going out of the box here. I know it's not yellow, but like Mislead. Right. Mislead is a fantastically designed core card. Like I can't see that card not have been reprinted. Not that it matters anymore, but
right.
Yeah, so it's interesting. You had spoken to me. I don't remember when we were talking about this, but we were talking about Hired Gun and how the Smuggler reminds you of the OG Hired Gun back in the Awakenings days, right?
Man, 8 points, 9 health, like 2, and I remember like what made him spectacular at the time was the 2 resource sides, because we struggled for money. It was the reason why we didn't play supports early on, was because we never had any cash. So that card was really good, and I feel like Smuggler is probably as good. In a vacuum, it's better. But I mean, given the time period, comparing them to their peers in the time period, Higher Gun was probably better because of the 8 for 9 health, which was a ton. Like back then, things didn't have a lot of health anyway.
Oh, he was definitely better in the day, because he was a mini Han, right? Remember, Han had only 10 health, had the 2 resource sides, did ambush things, but like he was one of the only other guys that had 2 resource sides, so he was like a mini Han. I mean, he was balanced because he had the pay sides, and again, like you didn't make money, so like a pay side was a big deal, right? But but I mean, I think the advantage the Smuggler, not only in today's day and age of more money, but the advantage the Smuggler has is it doesn't have to be the Smuggler's die. Right, so like any scoundrel. So like Hired Muscle with this guy, like you roll out a Hired Muscle, you're guaranteed a resource, a net, because Hired Muscle has no blanks, it's 2s and 3s. Hired Muscle with Scoundrel is bonkers.
Yeah, but what if you like roll bad and then you hit that special and only can do 4 direct damage, like boo on you?
No, I'm talking Hired Muscle. The
sorry, not Entourage. Hired Muscle. Yeah. No, yeah, Hired Muscle is probably the because it's a 1-drop, right? So it automatically pays itself back. Like it will. I mean, like you said, what does it have, a 66% chance of paying itself back, because it
have 2 3 sides or 3 3 sides. Yeah, I think it has 3 3 sides, right?
Yeah. So man, that's fantastic. That's pretty good,
because it's a 3 melee, a 3 indirect, and a 3 disrupt, right?
Yeah, and then it has 2 gun, 2 shield. Is that right? 2 gun, 2 shield,
and then a 2 discard, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. So it will always pay for itself.
I love how we're
And it
trying to
could
do this from memory and we actually literally have a computer in front of us.
hey, don't bore me with the
Yeah.
details. Everything I do is off my hip for this game. So my brain automatically goes to Entourage though. Like that's where I want to be. I want to well connected into an Entourage.
You don't need to
Roll
well
it
connect
out.
it into an entourage with this guy. That's the brilliance of it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, because I just roll them out and
Yeah.
resolve it. Because it's an action on all three of them at
Correct.
that point.
Yeah.
Oh my god. All right, I need to get off so I can build this deck.
Fair
Just kidding.
enough.
You know me. I don't.
All right. Well, my last topic I want to bring up is Spectre Team, and I'm probably biased on this. Oh, I see your drinks running low too. Now I know your real motivation.
I know.
But
Yeah. Well,
so Spectre Team versus droids, right? So Spectre Team, I'm not saying they're the new droids, but they are damn close. Like I think we have severely underestimated how good Rainbow Spectre is, and specifically I mean Spectre 1, 2, 3, which is Kanan, Hera, and Chopper. I think we're severely underestimating
So
that
what?
deck.
What? What makes this deck better than
It's
advertised?
Rainbow. You have so you're also running it with that stupid abandoned refinery battlefield, which is really good. So you can power action Chopper, flip that into a 3-drop. Right? Remember how you used to like power action Chopper and then turn it into a 3-drop in Bad Droids? Yeah, you
Yes.
can now do that 3-drop on any of your characters or drop a ghost.
Oh, right.
Right. So
Because it doesn't care. You can convert an upgrade to a support or support to an upgrade or like support to support, whatever. It doesn't matter.
yeah. So like that's good. It has it's rainbow, so you get. I mean, it's basically all the good stuff of Hero. You have pickings, you have motive, you have pacify. You now have run to safety because they all match. I mean, don't get me wrong, droids just got run to safety too. I'm not saying this is better than
Right.
droids, but like this deck's damn good, and you have to pound into Kanan. Kanan single die. It runs Ewok ambush, roll in Kanan and hit for 5. It's got instigate. The deck is real good.
Is it 5 die or 4 die?
Well, you can run it either way. Oh no, you can't. You have to run Spectre Team. So yeah, it's 5 die. I was thinking you could run AR, but you can't because Kanan is 8 with the other Spectres. Kanan's 8, and then Hera's 9, and Chopper is 8, and then they're all 3.
Okay.
They're
So
all
either
a 3
way-
elite. I mean, right? So you add 6 to that, and then it takes you to 31, and you drop to 30 with Spectre Team.
And Kanan's value drops by 1 when, or his cost drops by 1 when you match him with a Spectre.
Right? Yeah. So as printed,
Okay.
it's a 32-point team.
Okay.
I mean, not that because it's balanced or whatever in theory, right? So like
Right.
it's
Right.
designed that way, but yeah. So Kanan goes from 912 to 811, and then Chopper's 811, as we all know. Hera's 912, and then that pops you over for 31 with Spectre Team. So I was gonna say you could run AR, but that's not true. You can't do that.
And I got lucky. I pulled 2 Heras in my boxes, so that's one I could actually conceivably put together.
Hera's fun. I
come on.
kind of feel like she needed a 2. I know this seems stupid because I hate pay sides, but like I feel like Hera would have been better with a 2-2 for money instead of the 1-2. Instead of she's a 1-2 focus money. And I feel like I would have rather her have big sides. Like I know that seems
Right.
stupid, but she just needs more damage output.
In one focus just feels terrible nowadays. That used to be a great side, back in the early days. But to trade 1 die for another die, I mean, when there's so many removal cards, it feels really bad. Like if I can turn 2 focus into 2 good die, and your opponent has a 1 removal, they have to make a tough choice. But if you're sitting on 1 focus, they don't have any choice to make. They just wait to see which one you focus, and then they kill it.
I think you're
it's
right.
bad.
There. Actually, I think you're 100% right. I think that's actually the issue. Like maybe should have had like a 2 focus and a disrupt or something pseudo worthless.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. But anyway, I've been really impressed with that deck. I mean, granted, like I said, I'm biased because I've been getting my butt kicked here on the kitchen table constantly with that deck.
That's fun. Kanan seems pretty good though. Like that he's gonna go
Kanan's
play
bonkers. And you know what? It is really nice for Kanan because when you put him on the table, you have to kill Kanan. So
Right. And who wants to kill the one die
Yeah, and
character?
then
Like that feels
because
bad.
that's the other thing is like, well, now I can have a two because you never wanted to run two die chopper because you're like, well, they're gonna kill the guy with spot yellow, but now you got to kill
Right.
Kanan, and it's the deck's rough. So
Yeah. I'm gonna put that together. Give it a
yeah,
try.
so but droids are still a problem, but we can talk about that in the future. So
Right. Yeah. That's another.
all right, buddy, what
But
do you got going on this week?
just playing. Hopefully, playing with my local group on TTS.
You getting
Like
something
maybe getting the
organized?
Gongai group. Yeah, I'm gonna try. I don't think it'll be like official pay to play or anything. I think we're just gonna mainly play for fun. But that's something I'd like to look into a little bit in the future. Is maybe actually having an online local. But at the same time, I don't know if I want to be doing tech support when people are paying $6. Like we're just doing it like for fun. There's much less pressure. And then also, I start a role playing game over Discord this weekend, so I'm pretty excited about that. So I've been trying to fill my time with my like getting like still socializing with people, even though we're socially distanced, which has been it's been rough on gaming, but we're adapting.
Yeah, I mean TTS is becoming more popular. I agree with you on the your statement about troubleshooting being tech support for TTS is quite apt. I've
Right.
been tech support for TTS quite a bit in the last 14 days. So
Right. I mean, it's a great tool, and I want to help my friends with it, but like there are times when there are times when I don't want to help my mom with her computer, right? So, and she gave birth to me, like helping someone that I may or may not really like, on tabletop simulator doesn't seem very fun to me. Like that, I can think of like 8 other things I'd rather do.
yeah, and this whole like house inundation thing we have, right, is everyone's kind of lost track of time, and like a lot of those requests I'm getting are at like 9 in the morning, 10 in the morning, and it's like, guys, I'm working right now. Like I'm getting yelled at by two different people on Skype right now. Like, can you please? So yeah, but
So
I
funny.
mean, it is what it
How
is.
about you?
But yeah, I mean, like
What are
I
you
know
playing?
Derek was trying to get one kicked off for like Gongai, and I kind of gave him. I mean, I wasn't trying to poop on his parade, but I kind of told him I was like, you do realize if you open this up, you're gonna have not your locals. You're gonna have like some angry guy from Europe, like rage quitting over something when somebody like had a lag mistake and misrolled a die or something, right? And I was like, that's just like I don't know how Artificery does it. Like those guys continue to amaze me in their levels of
Yeah.
patience that they bring to the community.
Well, I think they probably had rough spots at the beginning too. I'm sure, but just I am as well impressed with their ability to run not 12-person locals, but huge events, like whole leagues on TTS. So I give them mad
Yeah.
props.
So okay, well that's cool. Yeah, let's see if we get anything off there. Now, other than that, I think just stay safe, buddy. Like I don't know what else to say.
You too, man. Rub that belly for me, okay?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, not
Oh
your belly, your
oh
wife's
oh
belly. Jesus.
oh. Yeah, that's been interesting actually. Is with this whole lockdown, I don't get to go to the doctor's appointments anymore. You don't get to see the little dude kicking around and stuff anymore because it's essential personnel only, basically, right? Like,
Did you see on the news today that some guy got like not snuck in, but he ended up like kind of semi quasi sneaking into the hospital for his child's birth, and he had like coronavirus. Like he was showing symptoms, like just awful. Like stay at home, people. Like you'll have plenty of other kids. Jesus,
well, I mean that. To be fair, that sucks.
it does suck. But come on, man.
Yo, I'm no, I'm
Anyway,
not advocating do that at all. That's don't get me wrong. I'm
right.
just I
But it does suck.
I understand his plight. However, I condemn his irresponsibility.
Right. Very true.
So okay. Well, again, thanks for joining me, man. I appreciate your time as always. And I don't know if you know, but you did get a child photo bomb during the middle. So we'll make sure to get that up and highlighted.
Oh my God. I heard him going around outside the door. I only said it like 4 times that I'm doing this, so I'm sure that was on purpose.
We're bored, Dad. We're bored.
Right, we're bored. Absolutely. Been in the house for 3 weeks, so. All
Yep.
right, man. Anything else
Nope.
for you?
Go Commando, buddy.
Go Commando. See ya.